Breaking news: Israel and Ukraine, ethics and politics. Many were divided over Israel's appropriate response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. In contrast to Putin's tyrannical rule and aggressive European imperialism, some argue that Israel should stand with the United States and the West. On the other hand, a more nuanced approach was needed due to requests to take into account security concerns and realpolitik. In the past, there has been a general belief that Russian President Vladimir Putin has a positive relationship with Russian Jews, and this has occurred against the historical backdrop of Israel's persistently negative attitude toward Ukraine, which extends beyond the Holocaust. Furthermore, Israel continues to view its ex-Russian population as a significant political constituency. This equation requires re-evaluation in light of the terrorist attack by Hamas on October 7 and Russia's reaction to it. A foreign policy that takes into account both Israel's fundamental principles and its actual political interests should be seriously considered by the Israeli government. While military strategy and tactics matter in Syria, geopolitical positioning could prove pivotal down the road. That being the case, the two capitals of Israel and Ukraine should become substantially more aligned militarily, diplomatically, and strategically. Real military cooperation with other Western allies should be considered by Israel alongside more aligned and cooperative diplomacy. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Volodymyr Zelensky must work together to garner bipartisan support for their respective countries as the new U.S. Congress session approaches. Yair Lapid was foreign minister and Naftali Bennett was prime minister during Russia's invasion of Ukraine in early 2022. Their reaction was, to put it mildly, mixed. Lapid was more forthright in his criticism of Russia, while Bennett used the phrase difficult, tragic times in a roundabout way. Israel refrained from offering military aid to Ukraine, despite agreeing to help with humanitarian aid and accepting refugees from the country, both Jewish and non-Jewish. The tense relationship between Russia and Israel as a result of Russia's involvement in Syria is the root cause of this ambivalence. Russia and Israel have worked together on deconfliction efforts since 2015. The two nations were able to coordinate their military actions in relation to Syria thanks to a red phone, which allowed for basic communication. This was vital for Israel so that it could continue to respond freely to Iranian threats coming from Syria without having to deal with Russian forces head-on. Russian military ties with Iran have grown stronger since the invasion of Ukraine. In addition, as part of its pro-Hamas posture, Moscow has hosted Hamas's leadership after the terrorist attacks on southern Israel. Even more alarmingly, numerous media mouthpieces for the Russian government have adopted a staunch stance against Israel, with overtones of anti-Semitism. Representing Russia's state media as in line with the principles of modern anti-Semitism, blurring the difference between Israel and the Jewish people and comparing both to Nazis, LT called Daniel Rakov, an authority on Russian policies in the Middle East, shared a thread on X, formerly Twitter, describing this depiction.